Welcome to episode 2 of Side Stories of the Untold Protestant Reformation. I am using the acronym TUPPER to let viewers know that these side stories are related to my series entitled The Untold Story of the Protestant Reformation. In this second episode of the Side Stories series, I will be referring to some of the items that I spoke about in the first episode, which was about Revelation chapter 13 and the number of the beast, the 666. In this episode, we're going to discuss one of the greatest miracles on the planet, that being Our Lady of Guadalupe. But let me be very blunt and honest with you. There is no way that my crappy little channel or format will do this miracle any justice. Instead, I'm going to provide a link in the description to another channel that does a superb job describing the image and all its little miraculous intricacies inside. I just don't have the budget. I'm not there. I can't give it the honor or the admiration or the acclaim that the image deserves. What I can give you is the image's link to the Protestant Reformation. One of my pet peeves for videos or blogs that cover this miracle is the failure to mention the Protestant Reformation. The miracle happens in 1531, when the reformers are trying to get Charles V to legitimize the Protestant religion with the Augsburg Confession. I didn't discuss the Augsburg Confession in my series, so let me give you that briefly. In the year 1530, Martin Luther, Philip Melanchthon, and some other reformers gathered at the Diet of Augsburg. They put together this formal manifest of the Lutheran religion and wanted Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor, to accept it, to make it legitimate. And they called that the Augsburg Confession from the Diet of Augsburg. But what the reality is of the Augsburg Confession is those princes and dukes that stole the Catholic Church property and changed their territories over to Lutheranism gathered together for protection, and they went to the Holy Roman Emperor in hopes that he would legitimize their religion and sign off on them taking the territory and the property over. Those princes and dukes called themselves the Schmalkaldic League, which will lead to the Schmalkaldic Wars in the 1540s. But back to the Blessed Virgin. While radical Protestants are busy burning images of Mary and destroying statues of her in Europe because their pastors told them those images are graven images and they're a sin, Mary shows up in the New World with an image that cannot be destroyed. Let me give you the backstory for this so you know what's going on if you're not familiar with Our Lady of Guadalupe. On December 12th of 1531, a peasant, an Indian by the name of Juan Diego, kept seeing Marian apparitions, and they had conversations. And the Blessed Virgin asked Juan if he could ask the local bishop to build a chapel in her name. The local bishop of Mexico thought Juan was somewhat crazy and kept pushing him away. On their third conversation between Mary and Juan, Mary told Juan to gather the roses on top of a hill and take them to the bishop. The roses were a specific kind that did not grow in the New World. When Juan presented these roses before the bishop, Juan's cloak immediately cast an image of the Virgin Mother. This image we still have, and it's on display down in Mexico, and it involves so many miraculous things about it. It defies all science, logic, and reason. Some of the things include the fabric of Juan Diego's cloak should have withered away 400 years ago. It was very cheap fabric, and it's still intact today. What scientists have found is there's no pigment, there's no dye, there's no stroke brushes, like a painting. One of the most fascinating features about this miracle is that under a microscopic lens, ophthalmologists have found images inside Mary's eyes, reflecting what Mary was looking at. And it's 13 figures. And both the eyes are disproportionate to show that both eyes were looking at the same item, but it's shown from different angles, as in real eyes. In 1921, someone tried to blow up the image with dynamite, and the whole church was destroyed, including buildings around it, but the image was still intact. As I said, there are just so many features about this image. You have to go watch that link. It is miraculous. But back to our story and how it relates to the Protestant Reformation. In our last episode of Side Stories, we discussed Revelation chapter 13 and Satan. And if you watched that whole video, I suggested to some of you to go watch another video of mine called God's Holy War. In that video, we described a back and forth between Satan and God. I showed you that during times of great trial and tribulations, it seems that God intervenes with apparitions and miracles. Like that video, here, Mary shows up in 1531 in the New World, while in Europe, the Catholic Church is being torn apart. Now, let's discuss Revelation chapter 12. In the last episode, we talked about Revelation chapter 13 and the beasts. This image of Mary is Revelation chapter 12. When you get a chance, I would suggest you read chapter 12. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. I'll just give you the short version. There appears a great wonder in heaven. It is a woman. She is clothed in the sun, with standing on the moon with a crown of stars. This is exactly what's going on in the image. Revelation 12 also says that the dragon or the beast tried to snatch Jesus or the woman's child away, and the dragon gets thrown from heaven to the earth. And you'll get that line where it says, "Woe to you of earth and sea, for the devil sends the beast with wrath." Any of you who know the Iron Maiden song might remember that. But the dragon persecutes Mary, and Mary has to run from the dragon, and she's giving these wings of an eagle. And in the image at the bottom of her feet is an angel with an eagle's wings that are carrying her. But the point I want to make about the image in Revelation 12 is why? Why is the image pointing to Revelation chapter 12? It's not like we're not going to know who she is and we need the Bible for reference. She talked to Juan Diego. She told him who she was, the Blessed Virgin. What is the image trying to say to those of 1531? How about go read Revelation chapter 12, the devil is among you. That goes back to my theory that I suggested in the last episode regarding the beasts. And in Revelation chapter 12, the dragon is cast out of heaven. And Jesus says in Luke 10, verse 18, "I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning." So I would suggest to read chapter 12 and watch that video on Our Lady of Guadalupe. I strongly believe that Our Lady of Guadalupe and the Protestant Reformation are connected, just like Revelation chapter 12 and 13.